Today we're taking the train from Bolzano to Trento, 60 kilometers away. I paid €14 for 2 tickets. That's unbeatable. Throughout the journey, apple orchards and vineyards accompany us on the plains and slopes. In front of the station is a large park. Here, several trees and bushes are already in bloom. In the center of the park stands a monument to Dante Alighieri, one of the greatest Italian poets and philosophers of the 13th century. The old town begins just beyond the park, with a new historic building appearing every few meters. The first is the Church of St. Francis Xavier. The church was built by the Jesuit order at the beginning of the 18th century. In the richly decorated interior, one of the highlights of Baroque architecture in the city, the altarpieces are particularly noteworthy. After leaving the church, a residential tower comes into view. It was acquired by the noble Thrun family in the mid-16th century and incorporated into a building complex, the most important of which is decorated with flags here. The family's coat of arms can still be seen on the facade. The building is now used by the city as the town hall. This fountain was uncovered during renovations in the 2000s. Opposite, we see the Geremia Town Palace, with its facade frescoes in the Trentino Renaissance style, dating from around the 16th century. The Palazzo Quetta Alberti Calico, 100 meters further on, dates from the same period. In the parallel street, we come across the Church of Santa Margherita. The church was initially built in the Renaissance style at the beginning of the 16th century and soon hosted meetings of the Papal Council of Trent. Today, the interior of the hall church is largely Baroque in style. The choir, with its double-columned altar and the reliefs on the right side, are worth seeing. We leave the church and head toward the central cathedral square. On the left, the Torre della Tromba comes into view. It is one of several so-called family towers in Trento. Until then, we had only seen this type of tower in Tuscany. At the end of the street, we come across the enormous cathedral square with the Fountain of Neptune as its focal point. The square is dominated to the east by the bishop's seat, later called the Palazzo Pretorio, and by the Torre di Piazza. This 11th century city tower is considered a symbol of early communal rule. The fascination of this square also stems from the ensemble of frescoed medieval houses. We had settled down here in the sun to enjoy the uniqueness of the square.
Leider sind die Malereien ja alle verblasst.
When the cathedral reopened at 2 p.m., we were able to visit this important three-aisled Romanesque building. The basilica is a true treasure trove of sacred art. The valuable 14th century frescoes, as well as paintings and altars from the Renaissance and Baroque periods, deserve special mention. The Baroque Chapel of the Cross, topped by a dome, was added to the south side of the cathedral at the end of the 17th century. It houses the large wooden crucifix, before which the papal decrees were proclaimed. At the cathedral exit, there is a view through the buildings to the steep mountains. We now continue through the pedestrian zone toward the southern exit of the city. A grocery store selling a strange type of sausage catches my attention.
Schokolade und Salami. Interessante Mischung.
Here, we encounter houses with arcades and beautiful frescoes. A round residential tower on the city wall concludes our walk through the old town.
Man sieht den Italienern an, bei denen ist noch Winter.
Before we take the train back to Bolzano, we treat ourselves to a cappuccino in the park in front of the train station. Our conclusion: the city is simply worth seeing. Tomorrow we will continue to Murano with a motorhome.